Birth Stories series here on the vlog, Flourish. So today I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about my second son's birth. His name is Jude, and Jude is now a wonderful, outgoing, beautiful little 3-year-old. So after Jackson's birth, I kind of, I was a little bit more relaxed about what to expect, and this time around we went with a home birth midwife, Kim, who is wonderful, and she's actually a dear friend of ours now too. When you go through those kind of things together, you tend to be friends.
Kim Haynes,
yeah,
Kim Haynes.
She's wonderful. So anyway, we had a great pretty good pregnancy. The only concern is my sugars started to get a little bit on the higher ends of normal, still within normal ranges, but Kim was very strict with me. She's like, you gotta get that under control, or otherwise, we're gonna have to send you out to another practice if you end up developing gestational diabetes. So I was very strict with my diet, and that actually changed my whole life because I've kept up with that. I changed my diet permanently since then. So anyway, Jude it was a great pregnancy. I saw a chiropractor this time around every single time. I had a lot of SI pain with all my pregnancies. It's always been an issue. But with his, it was a little bit better. I was really consistent about seeing the chiropractor, and I wanted to make sure baby was in a good position. So, we did our midwifery appointments. Everything was great. At 37 weeks, I was 2 centimeters dilated and a positive 2 station, which means the baby was very low. Yeah, I was like walking around with him like crazy.
Sounds very uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable. And so I knew it could happen at any time. And sure enough, a couple of days later, I lost my plug, which with Jackson, I forgot to mention that in my last story, I had lost my plug, and then that night went into labor. And so when I lost it with Jude, I was like, oh, here we go again. Usually that can mean it could happen a week or 2 later. It doesn't typically mean anything. I just knew based on my previous experience that maybe it could be the same thing. So sure enough, I lost it that afternoon, and I had been having contractions, as I do with all my labors. I think that's why they happen so quickly. I had Braxton Hicks contractions for weeks on end, periods of time here and there. And guys, don't get discouraged by those, by the way. I actually embrace it and I love it because I know that I'm making progress.
They're actually doing something.
They are doing something. And so I love that because I know, hey, I'm making progress and it doesn't even hurt yet. This is great. Keep doing your thing. Take as long as you want, body. So I had been having contractions for weeks here and there, but they were never intense, and I could feel them, but they weren't regular and like that. And that afternoon I started having a few more of them, and I took Jackson to Woodbine to play with some friends, and I was like, oh, I'm having some contractions here and there, like maybe tonight, who knows, we'll see. And that night I tucked Jackson into bed, and I remember really relishing that. Like, what if tonight's the last night I get to snuggle my baby as an only child? And
it's a big change.
It is a big change. Yeah. It's huge. And so we put him to bed, and I went to bed. And when you're pregnant, you have to get up in the middle of the night to pee frequently. And I got up at 10:40 that night, and as soon as I stood up, I felt this gush. And sure enough, I went to the bathroom, and it was blood, and I got nervous because of my first experience. And so I'm shaking because of the adrenaline, and I call Kim, and I'm like, Kim, I'm bleeding, and I described it to her, and she's like, it sounds totally normal, but if you want, I'll go ahead and head your way, and we'll check things just to make sure and put you at ease, and you can go back to bed and whatever. I'm like, okay. Well, thank goodness she was on her way, because I was not expecting a precipitous labor. And guys, for those of you who don't know what a precipitous labor is, it is a labor that starts and finishes in 3 hours or less. So she got there, and by the time she was living actually here in Strasburg, but she wasn't that far away. She got up, she got a shower, did her thing and came over. And by the time she got here, the contractions were intense. And the very first thing she did was check the baby's heart rate. Everything looked great. And she checked me and she said, oh my goodness, you are already 7 to 8 centimeters, 75% effaced. She's like, we need to call the rest of the team right now. So we called the rest of the team, and everyone got there, barely made it, most of a couple of minutes, really not very long at all before he was born. And as soon as she checked me, I got in the tub and I labored there. And I remember thinking, I get very quiet in labor. I'm not loud. Some people are loud, and that's great. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just a personal thing. I tend to go inside myself. I get very quiet. I block out everything else. And I remember, even though it's very calm on the outside, feeling very just anxious on the inside. Like, how much longer is this going to be? Like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And
Sounds like transition.
yeah, it was. And I look back now, and you have a clear mind, like looking back, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, that was obviously transition. But in those moments, you cannot pick up on that.
No.
Which again is why it's really important to have a doula or somebody there that can kind of encourage you through that.
And remind you of the
and
things
remind
you
you.
already know.
Yeah, like you're almost there. My husband Andrew had made the comment. He's like, I noticed your eyes were really glassy, and I really wanted to say to you, honey, I think you're in transition, but I didn't quite feel like I was like you would have trusted me to say that. So
Yeah.
I remember I was laying in the tub, and the water really helps keep me relaxed, and
So much.
it eases the discomfort so much. And I had a diffuser going, and I kept staring. It was like the Young Living ones,
Yeah.
and it has it was like this like purple glow, and that was my focal point for these
Yeah.
contractions. I just kept staring at it, and I was so calm. And the next thing like everyone had come in and set up their stuff, and Andrew got really, really protective of me, and I barely remember it, but he was like, guys, will you be quiet? And like Kim was like trying to set up her stuff. She's like, I know, get out in just a second. And so Andrew kicked them out of the bathroom,
Oh,
and
gosh.
he's like, I'll let you know when we need you. You guys get out of here. So the birth team was in the kitchen just hanging out, and Andrew and I were just hanging out. He was holding my hand and encouraging me, and the next thing you know, I turned to him and I said, honey, I'm feeling the urge to push. Can you go tell them? And they had not been there very long. I mean, like barely gotten there. And so Andrew goes out and says, hey, she's feeling pushy. And I'm not sure anyone really believed like it was happening that quickly. And we came in, and as soon as they walked in, I pushed that baby out just like that. And so Jude was born in the candlelight in this peaceful like bathtub. And as Jackson slept upstairs, it was a great experience. And it was so fast. His was 2.5 hours from the time I woke up and started having contractions till he was born.
It's intense.
It is very intense, but it was great, and I was so excited. I'm like, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And his, he lashed right away, and he has been such a joy ever since. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying us sharing our personal stories. Next week, I'm going to share Asher's, and